I was out of town all week, but I'm finally back. Let's talk about this James Harden and Clippers trade. The Sixers sent James Harden, PJ Tucker, and Philip Petrovev to the Clippers for Marcus Morris, Robert Covington, Nicholas Batum, KJ Martin, 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, and a pick swap. Let's talk about my Sixers first. All things considered, James Harden says he doesn't want to be here, calls Daryl Morey a liar, says he wants to only play for the Clippers in the last year of his deal. All things considered, I think Daryl Morey did a good job with this trade. The only caveat I'll say before I explain why is this trade only makes sense if you got approval and goodwill from Joel Embiid. If they just did this without really talking to Joel, which I really doubt, truthfully, I really doubt they did. But if they did do the trade without talking to Joel, I might be sad in about 8 months. But if Joel's on board, I like this trade. All 3 of the guys they traded for, Batum, Covington, and Morris, are on the last year of their deals. Honestly and truthfully, I'm not expecting any of these guys to do much on the basketball court for us. At one point in time, these are the type of players I love. The defensive guys who can knock down threes. Love Robert Covington when he was a former Sixer. He was solid with the Timberwolves. I've loved Nicholas Batum for most of his career. Honestly, I've also been a low-key fan of Marcus Morris. None of those guys are what they used to be. They're just in the twilight of their career. I think they'll get some minutes here and there. I like the ability that all of them potentially can bring to run some small ball lineups. Marcus at the 5. We've seen Robert Covington play the 5. We've seen Nicholas Batum play the 5 when the Clippers had to out of necessity. I hope the Sixers don't go down that road, but we know they're capable of it. But truthfully, the main and honestly only reason this is a good trade for the Sixers is obviously we move past the James Harden drama. But more importantly, we now have guys on expiring deals and we have draft picks. So Daryl Morey and the Sixers could decide to either see how things shake up. There's a couple of teams that might want to blow it up come trade deadline. I'm looking at you Raptors. I'm looking at you Bulls. Throw in the expiring contracts to make the money work and throw in the draft picks to make the deal happen. And we can have some trades come trade deadline. Or say we don't make a big splash trade, or maybe we just make one trade with now these 3 guys on aspiring contracts, Tobias Harris on an aspiring contract. The Sixers have money to make a big splash. Now, there aren't crazy names open in free agency. Some of the guys off the top of my head, I know Kawhi, Paul George, Kyrie. I don't love the idea of those big 3 names, but I know people love big names. I don't know if this is necessarily the direction that I will go in, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. And for the here and now, in terms of trying to win the championship this season, this doesn't really move the needle much for us or even at all. But I will say this one thing. Are the Sixers title favorites? Absolutely not. However, this is the NBA. And in the NBA, anything can happen. Call me a homer, but to win a championship, you need a little bit of luck and you need the ball to bounce your way. That's not impossible to happen for the Sixers. Am I going to bet my money on that happens for the Sixers? Absolutely not. We all know Joel hasn't lived up to expectation when it comes to the postseason. However, like I said, anything is possible. We'll see what happens when we get there. For the Clippers, I don't know if I like this trade for y'all. I'm going to keep it a bean. I don't know if I like this trade. I know the Clippers as an organization, we've been saying this for a while, for the last couple of years, they need a distributing point guard. It felt like they were getting that with Russ in the playoffs last year, and he's looked good in the beginning of the season so far this year. Paul George has looked great. Kawhi has looked great. They're saying they're trying to play all 82 games. Then James Harden has that press conference when he says, I am a system. I'm not a system player. I am a system. The system that we've seen James Harden be, I don't see that working with the Clippers. As I'm recording this right now, they're saying James Harden is going to play Monday night tonight. So we'll see how it plays out. I honestly I don't know if he will come off the bench. I doubt you'll get him or Russ to come off the bench, but I would like the idea of potentially James Harden running his second unit. I think with Kawhi or with PG not on the floor, they're going to need somebody who can run an offense. It's not necessarily the most pretty offense or an offense that everybody finds the most efficient, but during the regular season, James Harden can run an offense. He can get you 20 and 10 during the regular season. Playoffs, we'll see what happens, but overall, I think it's a win-win. Clippers didn't honestly give up much in terms of the personnel, the player personnel that left. They didn't give up much. They have a lot to figure out come this offseason with a lot of their guys, James Harden, Paul George, Russell Westbrook, and Kawhi, all being free agents this summer. But they did something. And truthfully, I like when teams do something because then it gives us something new to see, evaluate, and enjoy watching. We'll see how this goes.